Welcome to Beyond Barber School. I am your host, Barbara Doza. This podcast, Beyond Barber School, is a space where listeners will hear stories from barbers, educators, and founders that are elevating the barbering industry in and out of the barbershop. Our hope here is to empower barbers with the knowledge necessary to take a courageous next step in their barber journey. Welcome to Beyond Barber School. Welcome back to another episode. I am super excited to sit down with Josh Velazquez, aka Sniper Toe. Fresh out of Chicago is where he's at. I'm out here in California, so excited to get some time with Josh. Josh is the owner, operator, and founder of Prohibition Barber Co. In Chicago. I met Josh. It was just before actually he moved to his new location. That's in the West Loop, which we'll talk about. And he kept telling me how amazing it was going to be, like how amazing his shop was going to be. And let me tell you, I mean, I haven't been in it personally, but I've been following his journey, and he was definitely not lying. His barbershop, Prohibition Barber Co, is in Chicago's West Loop, and is truly one of a kind. If you follow him on Instagram, see his website, and it is definitely one of a kind. So Josh, huge congratulations on opening up your new location. How has it been going? It's been what, 6-7 months now, I think, since you've opened, right?
Yeah, about 6-7 months. First and foremost, I want to tell you thank you for giving me this opportunity to express myself, to share, to feed others, especially, those that are coming out of barber school and not knowing what to expect going forward. Because there's a lot of us that we come out of barber school and we have a sense of expectation, and 90% of the time we don't get there really quick. Some don't get there at all, so it's like, it's very detailed. I mean, the journey is very detailed, and it's super cool what you're doing. You're bringing on other professionals, and you're digging deep on how they became a barber, an owner, an artist, an educator, So kudos to you for doing this. Thank you for picking me. I started my business about a little over 3 years ago. I always wanted to start small, because I always felt, I had a chance to open up a bigger shop, and I didn't have a desire for that, which a lot of people would be like, yeah, let's go. For me, it was like learning the business first, staying in my lane, making sure that I'm capable of doing this. You know what I mean? Because I've talked to so many clients that sit on my chair, and, the first thing is, they're overwhelmed, or or their business has failed because they started too big. And so that put a fear into me when I thought of opening up a business. And so I was like, let me start small. Let me learn the process. Let me learn being a boss, and I get to build a foundation at my own pace. And so that's what I did. I went into a location in Pilsen, and I had one of my closest buddies. His name is Daniel. He was like the barber with me. We started like chopping hair. In that location, it was a really big warehouse. It was called La Cuna, which in Spanish is La Cuna, a crib, right? So it was an incubator for small businesses. One of my old clients used to own that building, and I told him, I was like, hey, do you have a spot for me? I would love to start small, like possibly a 2-chair barbershop. I'm not trying to look for money right now. The money will come if you do it right. He was like, I got a perfect spot, and we met up. So it was the experience of walking into that building is what birthed the name Prohibition Barber Company. You have this like keypad, you like dial the number to get into the building, and then you have this like sketchy like warehouse elevator that has a gate. And nice. So you're taking it to the 4th floor, and then from there you have this really long hallway, like real dark, right? like you're gonna get whacked, like like part of the mob, right?
Sure,
Like
yeah.
someone's gonna come and just whack you. We were hidden in a very corner. You couldn't see our space. So we were kind of hidden in a corner. I go there and I had this corner view and I had the Chicago skyline, very, very intimate. And I kept thinking about it. And I loved it. It was like Chicago red brick, distressed floors, all original. And if you follow me on Instagram, you see the aesthetic of what I like. I like 1920s. I love the style, the hairdos, more of a traditional vibe. Like your blue collar,
Yeah.
work gear, heritage. And so like later that night, I went home and I kept thinking about it. I was like, man, it gives like a Prohibition vibe. And I was like, what about if I call it Prohibition Barber Shop? I'm like, no, because I don't want it I don't want my business just to be a barber shop. I want it to be a brand.
Sure.
So if I changed it as Prohibition Barber Co., using the CO brought me back to the 1920s, or not me, but like,
yeah, the
idea.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was like, oh my God, like this is it.
Yeah.
I felt so confident and I fell in love with it. And then fast forward to 2.5 years, I ended up expanding to a bigger space in a way better location, which is the West Loop Fulton Market. And like that area is just like juking. I mean, if you have a Soho house, we have a Soho house 2 blocks away. We have a Nobu hotel. So, and it's just like, it's unbelievable, the location. And I was just so blessed to get this opportunity to move there. I worked prior in a salon around that area. So a lot of my clients are from that area. So I know the potential. I know that there's a lot of young professionals there that will spend the money on a good tailored haircut. And there's a lot of professionals that are attorneys, doctors that need a time of peace.
Yeah.
That needs a time that they could sit and just like relax and not care about anything. And that's what we curated back at Pilsen, and we just expanded it.
Love it. Well, let's talk about location, because when we talked, you kept talking about how it being in the West Loop was like a big piece, location being a huge asset to any shop. So for those who aren't familiar with the West Loop, even myself included, like I'm not super familiar with the area, what is, and you kind of mentioned already, but what is the significance of having the shop there? And can you even speak to just location being a huge asset to where a barbershop is?
Yeah, absolutely. So the West Loop, and they somewhat renamed our area to Fulton Market District. But we, just for interview sake, we'll just keep it as West Loop. That area on Randolph, I'm on Randolph Street, which Randolph Street, that's where you have like the best restaurants around on that street. And so what they're doing now is they're bringing in a lot of like a lot of retail. So like they just expanded Lululemon. They expanded, or they have a like Warby Parker. They have a Madewell. They have a lot. They have a super dope boutique local brand called Notra. They do like lifestyle, like streetwear on a high end level, and so a lot of those places I'm like in the heart of it. And right now, downtown Chicago is not a place where it's appealing to a lot of people, because a lot of crime is happening, and it's super sad because, I mean, downtown is Chicago, right? Google corporate came in, McDonald's corporate. So there's a lot of big companies going into the West Loop Fulton Market District, which means there's a ton of people coming in.
Yeah.
Just about literally a block away from our shop, there's two to three high rises, and there isn't any high rises around there. They're building high rises, luxury apartments starting at like $35,000 to $4,000 a month, just rental, which is awesome. I mean, these are people that are going to come in, and it seems like cash flow is not really an issue.
Yeah.
And not that we're going to take advantage of that,
Sure.
but we've taken great pride on what we've built into our shop, the service that we created, and our service and our work is going to tie up to the prices we charge.
Sure.
And these guys, that's what they look for.
Yeah.
They look for quality, and we're there,
Yeah.
and we're providing that. One thing about our location, we're on the second floor of this building on Randolph. We're on the second floor. So going back to the exclusivity and
Yeah.
and the private of I love to market a private barbering experience. Going from the original location to this one has definitely still gave me that without authentically.
Yeah.
It was like I didn't plan for that. It just literally happened.
Yeah.
In a way better location. And I was like so mind blowing. I was like, oh my God, you still need to buzz in to come up to our space. We're on the second floor now, but we're on a main street where there's a bunch of food, and your wife could come, get her nails done, get her hair done while the husband comes in, sips on some whiskey,
Yeah.
gets his hair cut, and then they do lunch
Yeah.
or dinner. And so, that's why we were like nerding out with our location, because there's unlimited potential there. And it's like, it's growing beyond it's
Yeah.
growing. And like, right now it's 3 of us, 3 barbers, stationed for 5. I'm still looking for 2 more people. So anyone out there that's licensed barber, licensed professional, cosmetologist, is all good, that has a passion for cutting men's hair, men's grooming, come on, hit me up.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually saw
Yeah.
you just posted again, like now hiring, I think this week. I think you might have posted that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And let's talk about the build, because your shop design, you did not cut corners of any sorts. You did not settle at all. And you on your website, I think, do call it, a private barbering experience.
Mm-hmm.
So many custom elements to your shop. How would you describe the vibe of your shop?
It's a very, very detailed barber shop, the same way we groom hair. We're on 45 minutes to an hour haircut, and some people might think that's crazy. I absolutely love it, for the fact that I'm taking my time to section. I'm taking my time to like create a beautiful shape into this guy's head, or even a woman. It's and I'm giving him that experience, and I'm giving him that time. And so I always, I've traveled so much for hair. I used to be an artist for Baxter of California, and I used to travel all the time. So I got to visit different salons, different barbershops, and I did a lot of homework during that time. And I'm like, okay, like these guys are really good, but like the shop looks off. Like, why would I, other than that awesome haircut, why would I want to continue to be consistent with my pre-bookings and want to come back if the shop is not up to par?
Yeah.
The bathrooms are dirty. There's paper on the floor. There's hair everywhere.
Yeah.
After every haircut, we pretty much sweep. I hate looking at hair on the floor, So it's like a lot of those aspects I brought it to building my shop, with attention to detail to the bathroom. You've seen my washroom. It's so sick.
Yeah.
People come in and I'm like, go to the washroom, and if you want to use it, go for it. We got some matches in there.
Yeah.
So it's like, I took great pride in building the bathroom. One of my clients is he was my general contractor, which that's awesome. We're supporting each other.
Yeah.
I gave him my idea, and he's like, I would love to work with you. I said, let's do this. Let's collab. I mean, I make you feel good through a haircut. I build your confidence. How about you build my confidence through building my shop?
Yeah.
So we worked together, and from the wood, all the wood was burnt. There's like that Japanese technique that they burn all the wood. From the custom stations, everything is custom built. Everything was, and it was built in-house. from like really good wood to yeah, I mean from everything. Oh, our bar area, we give complimentary whiskey, complimentary water, coffee. We give really good local coffee from, again, doing business with someone that does business with us.
Yeah.
Daniel, our barber, one of his clients owns two coffee shops.
Oh, cool.
And we source our coffee from him.
Yeah.
And it's like amazing. He calls it the barber's blend. It's a blend of two coffees,
That's awesome.
And so it's super sweet that we're able to do that, and becomes not just my place, it becomes like a community.
Sure.
And guys that were a part of it, they can walk in, they're like, and they're getting their haircut, they're like, damn, I was a part of this.
Yeah.
Or damn, this guy's sipping on some coffee, like that's my coffee.
Yeah.
And so it's not only the way how the shop looks, it's how we operate within it. That's most important.
Sure.
And the heart and the love that we pour into everyone that walks in.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you, one of my favorite feelings is when a woman comes in with her husband, boyfriend, or she comes in for a haircut and she's like, this is very, very welcoming. And I'm like, dude, that's it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of barbershops are very intimidating. People will walk in and no one says hi to them.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, these people are here to like pay you for a service. You treat them well, and I think that's where a lot of barbers, they miss out, and they can't elevate themselves because they're too worried about what's in their chair right here. But you got to remember, if you want to continue to grow, you got to like do this and be like, hey, communicate with your client. Hey, give me a quick second. Hey, do you care for anything to drink? Water, coffee, whatever, whatever you guys provide, and that little second means so much.
Sure.
When I walk in, I say good morning to everyone, even the guys on the chair, and the people that work for me, they do the same. So there's a sense of respect. Going back to the shop, is I have a good amount of like cool antiques there. So it becomes, when people come in, it's kind of like a little museum.
Yeah.
They're like, oh damn, look at that old sign, oh man, look at your register. It's like from the 1920s, right? And it works.
Yeah.
Like we hold our cash in there. It's super cool,
Yeah.
And so little things like that, people are like, they nerd out, especially the older generation, that they're like, what? I remember this, I remember that. So it brings back a lot of great memories to that individual's life, which is it's amazing that I could build a shop and people come in, they're like, oh man, this is so dope. Yeah.
Someone walks into a shop and their response is, man, it's welcoming. Like, that's something to reflect on for sure. Like, what are the comments that people make when they walk into a shop, maybe for the first time? Like, because it could go south. They see hair on the floor and it looks dirty. Then they could be like, oh, that's a really dirty shop, and that will leave an impression of, hey, maybe the haircut was amazing, but it was so dirty that maybe rubs people the wrong way. Or they come in and see what it looks like and they decide, you know what, I'll just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Which is first impressions, right? They're huge. Yeah.
Huge. Yeah. Because I mean, most of the time, a lot of people judge you as soon as they see you, and it's like, and it kind of sucks. It's not fair, but if you're giving them a reason, you can't, how could you, like, what's the word I'm trying to find? How can you blame them? So that's why we got to keep our stuff sharp, professional, clean. I would recommend this to a lot of barbers out there. Go into salons, walk into salons and see what they do. The reason why salons are charging $100, $200 for a men's haircut is because how their establishment looks like. And when people come in and it's welcoming, it smells different. They have incense, they have candles. These are little tips that I use, that instant gratification that people come in, they're like, This is not like your normal barber shop, but it is a barber shop because we're licensed barbers,
Yeah.
you know? But I grabbed certain things and I brought it into my space.
Yeah.
That just elevated, but it's the small details that people forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the word quality definitely comes to mind, right? When I think of you and think of your shop, you know, it's the custom elements, even for you to say like every station was custom built, like all the wood, like custom burned, even with a certain technique, even. But I will say this, it's also represented, I think, in like the clothes that you wear in your fashion, you know, brands like Rogue Territory or Poglia Peels, Omega.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we've talked about this much, but I'm kind of new into this like pocket of fashion. I got my first pair of Telesins like not that long ago. I've been eyeing like some Rogue Territory denim, saving up for those. Can you talk to us though about your perspective even on quality fashion? Like, where does that even come from?
Dude, do we have an hour for this? Just for this right here. In high school, I worked at a store called Structure. And Structure was is currently Express for men, right?
Okay.
And so back then it was called Structure. And so in high school, I used to work there. So they would give me like, you know, discounts, and I would work there. So I always had like fresh gear. I'll go to school and I had good gear. And, you know, people would be like, man, that's dope. And at the time I was cutting hair in high school. So I always had like a fresh fade. And so I always kept up with myself, and I always felt the amount of confidence that I had. I felt great. And for me, that's like my cape. That's like you know, the way I dress, like my tattoos, you know, even from like glasses, and, you know, I feel that's like my cape. I feel good, you know. But a lot of people, when you know, they deck out, you know, they walk around thinking they're, you know, they're the shit. You know, it's like I try to walk with humility all the time. You know, people come up to me and ask me, "Oh man, those are dope jeans. Where did you get them?" "Oh, dude, check this place out." You know, so like tattoos, cigars, whatever it is. You know, for me, I've created a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that I truly live. I'm not trying to fake it for the gram.
Yeah.
Like anyone knows me, they come to my house, they see cigars, they see whiskey, you know? And so I do it because it makes me happy. I do it because it builds my confidence. And it's like, I don't do it for no one else. I do it for myself. And it's like, I could care less what anyone thinks about me and how they see me. It's all good. I feel great, you know? And to have that confidence that launches you to your work behind your chair, that launches you into a meeting, into presenting in front of a bunch of people that, you know, you have a nice shirt or you have a nice suit, it's tailored, you have a nice watch, and you're just like, blah, 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 you know? And it's just, there's a sense of confidence. You know, we sell a haircut, but why sell a haircut looking like shit? Let's be real. Let's sell a haircut feeling good in your own skin. I'm on this whole health kick with my family, which has been unbelievable. We've lost amazing, like a good amount of weight. We feel good, most importantly, and we did it as a family. So again, it goes back to that, you know, like building your confidence. A lot of people lack confidence. I think if you'll be able to take the time to treat yourself, you take the time to take care of yourself, you're going to see your world change, you know, and it comes, and that you may have to spend a little bit of money for that. And also people coming up to me, man, that's dope. Where did you get that? You know, or like they come to me for advice and how they dress.
Yeah.
So I become more than just a barber behind the chair. I become someone that they could rely on to find denim, to get tattoos, cigar smoking if they're into that, you know, different whiskeys. I'm into whiskey, good restaurants around the neighborhood. It usually becomes like a topic in a barbershop.
Yeah.
So it kind of breaks the ice, especially and this is pretty interesting. A lot of new clients, they do research, right? They're like, well, I'm going to get a haircut with Josh.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? Right. So they'll probably search my name on social media. on Instagram and they'll see my page that's like a men's lifestyle page. So what happens is they already know what I'm about before they sit on my chair.
Yeah.
Because it's happened so many times. They'll sit in my chair and they're like, oh yeah, I see, man, who does all your tattoos? I seen like, all your work on social media or where did you buy that, buy that shirt or something like that? You know what I mean? And it instantly breaks that ice. Because a lot of the times, people come in and they're nervous.
Yeah.
I mean, you're about to chop their hair is a big part of how they look, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they see that there's some sense of confidence, and I'm just doing it through pictures. I don't do many videos, but still a picture could capture a full story.
Yeah.
And who you are.
Especially for new clients, you're coming in. Right, the conversation is a huge part of the service, right? And what are we going to talk about? And if you're almost putting things out there that represent who you are, they come in and you probably might even attract people who want to talk to you about the things that you're interested in beyond just the haircut. And I mean, barbers, I think, are tastemakers, right? They're, I mean, we say influencers in terms of social media, but barbers really are influencers in the sense of fashion, or even, hey, where are you going to eat? Like if you need a recommendation in town, like you've talked about all of the different partnerships that have gone into you, even, building out your shop. Like barbers networks can really connect the client to a lifestyle or to someone they actually need to get in touch with in the community. And so I've never really thought of it that way, but if it's like to the degree that you're willing to almost put out who you are, that actually might bring in clientele that you actually really enjoy serving and enjoy talking to. So you actually mentioned this, which we haven't really talked about. You mentioned even cutting hair in high school. So can you even give us a little bit of like a bio, like how long have you been barbering? Like how did you get into it? Talk to us a little bit about your origin story.
So, man, I started back in '98 in high school. I was a graffiti artist, and I ended up getting in trouble one time and got punished for a whole month. And I was like, damn, that sucked. How could I continue to be creative, but in a positive way, right? In a positive aspect. And so what happened was I started hanging out with a different group of guys that were into cutting hair and cars and girls and all that stuff. And so I started hanging out with them, and I started watching my buddy Eric just cut hair and like the way, and it was in his basement of his house, and there was like maybe 5-6 guys waiting for him. It's like a mini barbershop after school, and that's where we all talked. That was like our place where we got to hang out and building confidence. Just, he was grooming us, and it could be like, a crappy day, and you walk out of that house, you're like, man, that felt good, like skin fade. And so I fell in love with that. I was like, man, that's dope. Like I want to do that. So I watched him for some time, and I was like, I want to do this. I think I could do this. So I bought my first pair of clippers. First haircut was actually pretty good, man. Like I'm not like BSing. That my buddy went to school, and people were asking him like, hey dude, who cut your hair? He's like, Josh did, and then people started coming to me. And then obviously during that time I was like butchering haircuts.
Sure.
I don't know. That first one was good. It was meant to be, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So like I kept cutting hair during high school, senior year, for like my prom and homecoming. My parents' backyard deck was full of guys getting haircuts. I was charging $5 per haircut, $8 graphic designs, and and again, so even back then in high school, I was creating this lifestyle because I worked at a men's clothing store that had really good clothes, and so these guys would come up to me, hey Josh, like where did you get that shirt? Can I give you money and you give me your discount? I'm like, yeah, dope, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so I would do that for just the homies, right? And And then I wanted to start, I wanted to go to cosmetology school right after high school. And I became a father at a young age. So it kind of pushed my passion of cutting hair to the side to become a man quick.
Sure.
So I became a young father, started working in corporate America until like I was there for like maybe 14, 15 years until I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I kept cutting hair, but only for family and friends out of my house, close friends. And I was like, I want to do this full time. And so I took the leap of faith. I told my wife, hey, I'm quitting my full-time job. I'm gonna start barber school. And she was like, do it. I was like, what? I was like, no, hold up. You need to argue with me, you know? And she's like, no, I feel your confidence. Like, you need to do this. And at the time, that's when Instagram first started. Or around that time when Instagram first started, that I was being like so inspired by other barbers on the gram. And I was like, man, that's dope. And I would post pictures and they would encourage and they would be like, man, you can do this. You know, I miss those days of social media, of Instagram, when it was like those days of like encouragement. Now it's like you see a bunch of mess on there, but whatever, that's another segment. But yeah, it was like a sense of like encouragement. And I was like, I felt like I can do this. So I did. I quit my job. It was a full-time job. At the time I had my 2 kids, wife. I had a pension, I had 401k, had all of it, you know, steady income, health insurance. And I quit that with my wife's blessing. I quit that and I started barber school. And then from barber school, I got connected with Baxter of California, because and then I started working in a high-end salon in Chicago. And then that's where I got connected with Baxter of California. And then I like started navigating to different places in our industry. I promised my wife one thing. It's like I told her, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna stretch myself, and I'm not gonna be content. I'm gonna like give it my all, because like you've trusted me during the process, and I'm not gonna let you down. I'm not gonna let myself down. I became my biggest advocate. You know, that's one thing a good amount of people they don't do. They don't give themselves credit. It's like, you know what you're capable of. You know how hard you could fight. You know, bust your ass. Get, as I say, get what belongs to you. You know, and you know, there's no shortcuts in this. I've been doing this. I truly feel now. I'm 42 years old, 41. Man, once you get old, you forget your age. I'm 41 right now, and I truly feel that my life is starting. It's wild, but you know what? I started this whole barbering or like this vision back when I was in high school, and a lot of, you know, a good amount of people, they just want it now. And that's where they fail, because they overwork themselves. It's overwhelming. It's stressful. I love the process. Fall in love with the process and you'll see how successful you'll become. I'm telling you, that's one of my biggest things. I love the process, even if it's usually the process has peaks and valleys, you know? Love it when you're in the valley, and love it when you're, you know, at peak, you know, just like you have to embrace that, because that's where you grow the most. That's where you stretch the most. And I'm at that place now. I'm like, I feel really, really good, you know? So.
That's awesome. That's
thank you.
I did not know. Yeah, I did not know a lot of that, even of your story, especially in like corporate America. Or I feel like that's very relatable of that moment where you're like, I got to dive in. Like it's like you know you have to do it. Like you almost wouldn't be able to live with yourself if you didn't, you know, make the choice to go to barber school or dive fully in.
Yeah, I share, especially with my kids and my wife. Like, I love obviously they're me.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of me, part of my life. And so I'm gonna give them everything. I'm gonna pour everything out. And I always tell them, like, I don't fear much, but you know what I do fear is is not taking an opportunity that I feel good about, not taking it because I have fear.
Mm.
Fear is always going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, that little voice in your head is always going to tell you can't do it. But and then you have what is called your intuition. Your intuition tells you the truth 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. When you're sitting down, you're like, man, I should eat that. And your intuition is like, nah, bro, you're gonna gain like you can gain some pounds. Don't do it.
Mm.
Or, you know, man, I want to go left, but I know I'm supposed to go right. Go right. That voice that you hear that is giving you the right direction, you listen to that. That's the only way I navigate. I only know how to operate through my intuition, and it's never let me down.
Mm.
And those are things I love to share those things, especially with my kids. You know, don't be the one to say I had a chance and I didn't. Mm. Be the one to say I had a chance and I did.
Yeah.
Because, like, as you mentioned, I don't want to go through life to be like, damn, I had that opportunity, and then now I'm in the same situation where I was at 20, 15 years ago. And it's okay. It's okay for those that want to live that life. I have nothing against it. This is how I live my life. Mm-hmm. And this is why, you know, opportunities have came to me and I've taken them and I'm like, it's, you know, I'm just like kind of like launching up. Is because I'm allowing myself that, you know, I'm bringing that positive energy and I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Well, let's talk, because yeah, you even said a word earlier in our conversation of like humility. And I think mm-hmm. that does have to do with even ongoing education and being willing to, like, yeah, I'm good, but there's still more that I can learn. And so I know this was a little bit ago, but you took a class, I think it was Kevin Lichman. I think I'm pronouncing his last name right.
Yeah.
I think there was a quote that you posted on your Instagram too, where you said, a true master is an eternal student. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to us about just ongoing education and even what that quote means to you? Like, what's your perspective on that?
Man, you know, one thing that I somewhat cringe when I hear, and everyone has the way they view themselves in a certain way. And I'm pretty sure some license says it, like master barber. Like, I don't ever want to be called a master. I'm not a master. You know, a master has no more room to grow. A master has no more room to learn. I'm always a student of my craft. Always. One thing that I will do is find someone that's better than me and take a class with them and be a student and be and like take my walls down and be vulnerable to learn, be open to receive direction, you know, and not like, oh, I could have done that, you know. Well, no, why are you here then? You know what I mean? And so, you know, I've done education with Baxter of California, and I've learned so much from that. I've learned how to work with others. I've learned how to be the ear first before speaking, because that controls what I'm about to say. And I've learned that within my own personal life with my family. I listen first, you know, because that always controls and you'll be able to navigate what you're about to say next. And so, learning all that was during education, was teaching other men's grooming and so, like, not too long ago, about a year ago, I believe, I stopped educating just for the fact that I'm in a bigger space, and this is it. For me, my brand, Prohibition Barber Company, is it, right? And I have to focus on that, and I have to market that, and I have to build that. I knew how big and important education is for me. So I took a class with Kevin. Kevin has been one of my favorite barbers of all time. Like that, I have so much respect for that guy and for him from London to come to Chicago, and he was at Eric's place, Skull and Thrones. Like the homie invited us, and another amazing owner. We yeah, I took this class and I was like, yo, this dude, this is so sick. Like I was able to take a class with him, and then we became friends. We talk all the time, and he's a family guy, and so am I, and so we dug deeper. And one thing that I love about Kevin's way of teaching is a good amount of education right now is very high fashion design, hairstyles, and which is super dope. But in all reality, 98% of your clientele base is maybe something like this,
Simple.
like more of a basic men's haircut.
Yeah.
That's what's going to make you money. That's what pays the bills. That's what pays my shop. It's more of that classic, gentleman's haircut, more of a basic haircut. But it's always good to take classes with, have that edgy, that edgy look and all that. But just to take that class with him, his foundation is very is basic, but man, so impactful. It's like, man, try to do this. Look how this layers, and it's so sick, man. I will take a class in a heartbeat with him again. I'm actually heading out to San Diego the end of August.
Okay.
I'm taking a class. Have you heard of Travis Parker? He's out. He owns a salon.
Okay.
And again, stretching yourself. It's women's hair. I don't do women's hair. I'm taking a 2-day course, 8-hour each class, and I've invested in paying for those courses. They were not cheap, but guess what? I don't care, because that education is priceless. Mm-hmm. And these guys are like the homies from Instagram. And I told them, hey, I would love to take a class. And that's the thing, going in there with an expectation of stretching yourself, of like learning different techniques that you could bring back to your day-to-day operations. And I could teach. And that's not only for me, but I could feed that to my barbers that work with me. I'd be like, oh my God, check out this technique I learned. And so just always continuing education. That's the only way you're gonna be on top of your game. Mm-hmm. And also your clients see that. Yeah. You become an asset to them. They know you're always on top of your stuff. Yeah. They could count on you. So.
Yeah. It's great. I mean, yeah, investment. Yeah, it's an investment. Sure, you're putting some paper down for sure, but it's investment back in yourself, mm-hmm. even back into the Prohibition Barber Co. brand that people are seeing. Oh, you're doing further education. Like, oh, why is the cost of the service this much? And it's like, oh, these are all the things that I'm investing into this space to provide a great service, or even be a good owner to be able to continue to like educate the barbers that are in your team. How do you decide which courses to maybe invest in and which not to? Like, it sounds like it's like, I want to do something that I've never really done before, or it's like a little bit out of my comfort zone. Is that kind of how you think about it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've taken so many short, I already know how to fade, right? So it's like, what else is there to learn, right? A lot more shear cut, long men's haircut. But for me, I think doing a class where it focuses on women's layering, blow drying, razor cutting. I love razor cutting too. That's like not razor cutting with the face. That's always, that's a lost art, and I absolutely love. But like razor cutting hair, that is fun. Sure. And so these are things that Travis Parker's and Jeremy, their crew, that's what they teach. And that's something that I'm going to be so proud of, like taking a class like that, and like, I'm so excited. Like, I mean, come on, you have like Julius Caesar, which is a really good homie of mine. He took that class too, like a month ago. He took that class and he was like, he shot me a text. He's like, yo, this class is awesome. It's like, it's super cool that it like revives, education revives your soul and your skill. And so for me, it's like, I need to find people that are better than me and that are awesome too, like great individuals and people that I look up to. One thing that I would love to share is I've heard this a lot, different hairdressers and barbers. They're like, oh yeah, man, I've met yada yada person that I looked up to. And then when I finally met them, they were jerks, and that's heartbreaking. And it's like, why do that? Why be a person that, in that space? Now these people are just, they're spreading the word that you're a jerk, you know what I mean? And so like, that's why for me, it's like, when I want to take a class, I somewhat know who they are before.
Yeah.
I communicated through like DMs, or if I have their number, or like if I see them at a show. That's why it is good to go to shows and to do different events, because what happens is you get to see those people raw.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, cool. Yo, I want to take a class because you're like super sick, right? And so I tell people all the time, just like kind of do your homework before you invest that money, because what happens is you're going to invest that money and you're going to be like, damn, I lost all that money, and your mind is not going to be there.
Yeah.
Because of that one situation. Could be that they were tired.
Yeah.
There's so many aspects of it.
That's super interesting. And going to shows, I got a chance to go to a handful of shows, and it's sad, but true. Like I met some barbers that I had followed and tried to introduce myself, say hi. And it's like you get big leagued, or they're looking somewhere else. Their eyes are not really, they like maybe shake your hand, or they're just preoccupied with something else, not really giving much time of day. And you're like, man, that's okay, good to know, and
right.
It's unfortunate for sure. Well, hey, I know we're running up on time here. Wanted to get into just kind of a fun, like rapid fire questions for you, and then wrap up with some like final thoughts here, some kind of words of wisdom. So we got to talk specific cigar, whiskey, and even Mercedes-Benz. Because if you follow your IG, we'll see all of those things. Quick rapid fire question for you. What are occasions that 100% call for a cigar? Like no questions asked, gotta have a cigar.
That is Saturday after work or Sundays when I'm chilling.
There you go, like one day a week.
But also it has to be nice outside. I'm sorry, but I love cigars, but I'm not gonna smoke a cigar when it's cold. I'm not that thirsty. Like Chicago weather beats on you, and I'm A-okay. I've had friends that are like, hey, come on, there's smoke here. I'm like, bro, it's cold as hell. I'm straight.
Yeah.
But yeah, like nice weather doesn't really have to be a special occasion.
All right.
Just nice weather. Like that's my way of like zoning out. My kids are in the backyard. My dog is in the backyard. We're grilling my wife, and we're just like relaxing.
How about most popular whiskey that your clients drink in your lounge area? Is there like a one that people are reaching for?
So we usually have 3 decanters where we put like put whiskey in there. Usually we have just because whiskey becomes super expensive and we're giving it complimentary. So what I'll do is I'll buy a really big bottle of like a liter of like bullet bourbon. Yeah. And we keep it in there, and then we keep like a scotch in there. So guys that like scotch, so what we do is like bourbon or scotch, and then they'll answer like bourbon. All right, cool. Then we'll give them some bourbon.
Makes sense.
We'll put like Knob Creek in there, bourbon. But like, outside of that, like I have like a top shelf, which we don't pull those out much. More for decor, or if the last client is like, or a good client of ours, and I'm like, come on, let's drink this,
Sure.
But right now I'm hard on Japanese whiskey.
Okay.
Dude, sick, so good.
Yeah,
So
I've tried a couple. It's been a while. A friend of mine, he was like subscribed to a certain whiskey, yeah, subscription. I think they'd send him one like once a month. And
yeah,
yeah, he had some Japanese whiskeys that were, yeah, it was a pretty fun like tasting that we did. He brought them all out.
after a
Cool.
long day, sip on something as
Yeah.
good as, something good like that, nice
Yeah.
cigar, and just like kick it.
Yeah.
Enjoy life, right?
Love it.
Enjoy after that long day of work.
I feel like,
Yeah.
especially in barbering, I mean, it is physical. Like you're on your feet all day. It is hard work. It is hard labor. Figuring out ways to even reward yourself to be like, hey, at the end of a long week, it's like, hey, I deserve this. You
Yeah.
put in really hard work. And so whether it's whiskey or cigars, like I'm sure everyone has the, oh, treat yourself. Like barbers, I know people say like for barbers to even save money, it's like, hey, stop eating out, et cetera. But also there's a piece of me that's like, no, it is hard work. You deserve that. Like whatever
Yeah.
that, maybe it's not every single day. Maybe it
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
be considered of like end of the week celebration. All
Hmm.
right, let me go out, grab a nice dinner,
Yeah.
or whatever it is. But it's great to have that practice.
So, so what I've been doing that's helped me a ton has been full body massages and pedicures,
Mm,
because at that place you're relaxed. I
yeah,
mean, you're always on your feet. You got to
yeah,
take care of your feet,
yeah,
take care of your body, and where our arms are always like this,
yeah,
do,
yeah,
clippering. We're always kind of moving. And for the most part, we're usually stiff,
yeah,
right? Because we're in one spot.
yeah,
And so those are things that I've been treating myself a lot,
yeah,
is getting kind of like pampered like that, at least like once a month,
yeah,
you know. But that's an investment. Like maybe bring your lunch and use that money for something like that.
yeah,
That just feeds your
yeah.
body and feeds your soul, you know. So
These things might be write-offs too, honestly. They could be.
hey,
I'm not an accountant though. I'm gonna have an accountant on
yeah,
another time and we'll talk about that.
yeah, right.
Okay, well, hey,
That's a good that'd be a good segment, man.
oh yeah, that's
Like
planned. I got an accountant that's
I
gonna
like
be
that.
he's gonna be coming on where he's actually based out of Chicago, actually, too. He's done
Nice.
some work with there's a shop that he works with. He's the accountant for it, but then he also offers accounting services for barbers. But talk about
That's
that in
tight.
another episode. Okay, I want to get into final thoughts though. So name of this podcast, Beyond Barber School. And I mean, yeah, you're a great example, I think, for upcoming barbers to look at what you've done in your career, whether that's even education to opening up your, initial space, working at a salon, like then opening up a bigger and scaling like a brand, taking on ongoing education. Any closing thoughts like that you'd love to give to the listeners, like any words of wisdom that you'd pass on?
Be true to yourself. Always say be your biggest advocate, because no one will fight as hard as you can fight for yourself. Walk with humility, stand firm on who you are, your beliefs, you know. Just take care of yourself, take care of your body, take care of your mind, your soul, your heart, and we're in a service business. One of my biggest requirements for my shop is I always ask people that work with me, do you have the heart to serve? If you don't have the heart to serve, you have no place in my shop at all, you know? And so, that's what it is, that's what barbering is. It's like giving, making people feel good. But if you're not in a place where you feel good yourself, you could do some harm, you
Sure.
know? People could feel that energy.
Yeah.
And so, at least take care of yourself, also, stretch yourself, continue to stretch. Because as they say, when you stretch a rubber band, it would never go back to its form. It's already loose. It's already like loose.
Mhm.
It would never go back. And so stretch yourself, because during that time, you're just gonna learn. You may fall and trip. Get back up. Believe that you can do this, and you'll surprise yourself in how strong you are and how much you accomplish in such a short time if you continue to believe in yourself. I've been on a professional scale since like since I got my license, maybe going on 9 years. Look where I'm at.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a blessing that I've gotten to this place.
Yeah.
But it's because I have always kept out of my comfort zone. I've always given it my all. I didn't care what that person had to say about me, or this person, or how that person looks, or how they're successful, and I want to get there. Don't focus on that. Focus on yourself. You know, that's the way I live. That's what I share with my kids.
Yeah.
People that want to talk. That's what I share. And it's just believe in yourself. I'm telling you, you are powerful. People don't understand what they're capable of until they tap into it.
Yeah.
You know, I tapped into it and I feel great.
Yeah.
It feels awesome, you know?
Yeah.
So
such good words.
Yeah. Hopefully that was good.
No, that was amazing, Josh. So, I mean, thanks so much. This is
you.
Josh Velazquez. He is a barber. He's an educator and founder. He's all three. He's obviously Prohibition Barber Co. He's the owner of it. You can follow him on Instagram. You can follow the shop. You can follow his personal account. I'll go ahead and give like links of everything in the show notes so you can check him out. Josh, thank you so much. There's so many gems that you shared with us. I know this one, who knows? This will probably be one of the most played ones, I think. I'm really excited that everyone got a chance to hear from you. So yeah, I'll put everything in the show notes. Josh, thanks so much for your time.
And, thank you, brother.
Great talking to you, for real.
Yeah, thanks for giving me this opportunity, and you know, keep crushing it, brother. You know, I believe in you. I love what you're doing. You know, this is super cool. You know, it's like the intimacy that you could pour out of others. Like, you're doing it, man.
Thanks.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate
That's
it,
awesome.
Josh. Cool, man.
Thanks, brother.
All right.
Cheers.
See ya.
Take care.